75% of iOS apps and 70% of Android apps tested in 2025 have both sensitive data collection and tracking domains. 1 in 3 iOS apps fails to disclose what data they collect at all. The average phone has over 80 apps installed. If you're like most people, you've tapped Allow on every permission prompt those apps showed you, and you've done it without reading it. This is what you gave away each time. Location. What Allow actually includes. Location is the permission everyone thinks they understand. You assume you're sharing a pin on a map. You are sharing considerably more. Granting location access on both iOS and Android includes GPS coordinates, the names of nearby Wi-Fi networks, even if you haven't connected to them, Bluetooth devices in range, cell tower data, and barometric pressure for altitude. All of that comes with a single tap on Allow. 2 distinctions worth knowing before you make that choice. First, while using app does not mean only while the app is on your screen. It means while the app is active in any form, including when it's playing audio in the background, when it's delivering a notification, or during silent background refresh. The app can check your position at those moments without any visual indicator. Second, iOS 14 and Android 12 introduced a separate option called Approximate Location that shares a neighborhood-level position rather than your exact address. When an app asks for location, this option exists. Most people never select it because the prompt emphasizes allow and the alternative is buried. The documented case that shows what this enables. The Weather Channel, owned by IBM, was sued by the city of Los Angeles in 2019 for selling users precise location data to advertisers and hedge funds without adequate disclosure. The app had over 45 million users. It was promoted as a weather service. The data it was selling was a complete movement history of those 45 million people. Microphone, the fear is wrong, the reality is stranger. The question everyone asks, is my phone listening to my conversations? The honest answer from independent research, there is no published evidence that mainstream apps secretly record conversations for advertising. Multiple independent security audits have looked for this and not found it. The permission is not being used for that. What it is being used for is something most people have never heard of. In 2017, researchers published a paper identifying 234 Android apps containing ultrasonic tracking software. These apps use the microphone to detect inaudible sound beacons, frequencies above human hearing, emitted by TV advertisements and by in-store retail displays. When your phone's microphone detected the beacon, the app registered that you had been physically present during that specific TV ad, or standing in front of that specific store display. That data was then used to connect your TV viewing to your app activity and your physical retail presence. You couldn't hear the beacon, your phone could. Privacy International documented this practice. The other documented issue, the visual indicator that tells you when your microphone is active, didn't exist in older operating systems. Apple added the orange dot indicator in iOS 14 in 2020. Android 12 added its equivalent in 2021. Before those updates, any app with microphone permission could activate it during normal use with no notification of any kind to the user. Every phone running software older than those versions. For years after iOS 14 launched, a majority of active devices had no way to detect microphone access at all. Contacts. This is the most counterintuitive permission on the list. Contacts permission grants access to names, phone numbers, email addresses, job titles, company names, physical addresses, birthdays, relationship labels, and notes fields, all of which users often fill in candidly with information they would not share publicly. That is the obvious part. Here is what most coverage misses. When you grant contacts permission, the app gains information not just about you, but about every person in your address book. People who have never downloaded the app. People who have never agreed to any terms of service. People who have no relationship with the company. Their phone number, email address, and name are now in that company's database because you uploaded them. This is how shadow profiles work. If enough users upload their contacts to an app, the app can reconstruct a profile of almost any person, combining the partial data from multiple uploads, even if that person has never created an account. Facebook's shadow profiles were confirmed during Mark Zuckerberg's 2018 congressional testimony.
Would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
When asked directly how Facebook has data on non-users, Zuckerberg confirmed the mechanism. WhatsApp uploads your entire contact list to Meta's servers the first time you grant contacts permission. This is in their terms of service. It is not in the permission prompt. When you tap Allow on contacts, you are not consenting for yourself. You are consenting on behalf of every person saved in your phone. None of them were asked. Camera. Camera permission grants continuous access to both front and rear cameras while the app is active, not just when you're taking a photo. In November 2019, iOS developer Joshua Maddox published a screen recording showing Facebook's iPhone app activating the camera in a side panel while users scrolled through their feed. Users were browsing text and photos. The camera was running in the background. Facebook confirmed this was a bug and released a patch. In 2020, Instagram users identified the same behavior on that app. CEO Adam Mosseri publicly acknowledged it, attributing it to a bug in code that detected whether the user was about to initiate a photo upload. In both cases, it was Apple's orange dot indicator, introduced in iOS 14 that same year, that allowed users to detect the activation. Without that indicator, neither situation would have been noticed. Security researcher Felix Krause demonstrated in 2017 that an app with camera permission could, during normal active use, capture still frames at regular intervals and upload them without any visible indication. This was a technical demonstration of what the permission allows, not evidence that mainstream apps were doing it. But it established clearly that the technical capability is granted the moment you tap Allow. One clarification: camera permission does not grant access to your photo library. That requires a separate Photos permission. Camera permission is live capture only. Notifications seem harmless. They are just alerts. The tracking mechanism inside them is worth knowing about. Opening a push notification sends a confirmation signal back to the app's server. Your device received the notification, the exact time you opened it, your device identifier, and in many implementations, your approximate location at the time. That is a location signal that doesn't come from location permission. Some notifications also contain invisible one-by-one tracking pixels, the same technology used in email tracking. These pixels load from a server when the notification appears in your notification shade before you tap it. Loading that image confirms to the sender that your device is active and online at that exact moment. iOS has required explicit notification permission since iOS 9. Android required permission only from Android 13 onward, released in 2022. Before Android 13, apps could send notifications without asking. That covered the majority of active Android devices until approximately 2024. For years, Android users had no mechanism to decline notification access at the app level. Bluetooth. Before Android 12 in 2021, Bluetooth permission on Android was bundled with location permission. The reason: Bluetooth scanning can detect the fixed Bluetooth identifiers of routers, retail beacons, and permanent devices in physical environments. Those fixed identifiers can triangulate a precise physical location independently of GPS. Any app that requested Bluetooth access before Android 12 was also receiving location data as part of the same permission. Android 12 separated them, but only going forward. Retail chains deployed Bluetooth low-energy beacons inside stores and malls. Apps with Bluetooth access could detect these beacons to identify which store you entered, which aisle you stood in, and which shelf display you paused near. This data was used for targeted advertising. The practice was documented in FTC testimony. The less obvious risk of Bluetooth access: the names and identifiers of all Bluetooth devices you own become visible to the app. Your specific combination of a particular speaker model, headphone brand, smartwatch, and laptop keyboard is statistically unique. Those device identifiers together form a fingerprint that identifies you across sessions and devices, even without cookies, even without an account, even with a VPN running. Storage. On Android versions before Android 13 in 2022, read external storage permission granted an app access to everything on the external storage partition, not just files that app created: photos, downloaded documents, files saved by other apps, cache files from other applications. All of it was accessible under a single storage permission that was also used by apps just needing to save their own game data. A game requesting storage permission to save a save file had technical access to every photo on your phone. Android 13 introduced separate permissions for photos, videos, and audio files, granular access that matched what apps actually needed. Before that, the storage permission was one of the broadest grants on the platform and was treated as routine. The Manage External Storage permission, held by file manager apps, backup tools, and some social media apps, grants complete file system access equivalent to administrator access. Any file on the device can be read, modified, or deleted. This requires a specific disclosure in the Google Play Store listing and a separate approval screen. but the access it provides, once granted, is comprehensive. Health data. The most significant documented permission abuse case in mobile history involves health data. Flow Health's period and ovulation tracking app integrated Facebook's and Google's analytics tools between 2016 and 2019. Despite telling users their health data would be kept private, Flow shared sensitive health information from millions of users with those analytics firms. The FTC finalized a settlement requiring Flow to obtain genuine consent before sharing health information, submit to independent privacy audits, and instruct third parties that had received the data to destroy it. By the time the case concluded, 150 million people were using the app. In 2025, a California jury found that Meta had collected and used menstrual health data from Flow users without authorization. Health permission grants access to heart rate data, sleep patterns and duration, menstrual cycle information, medication logs, weight and body measurements, and detailed physical activity records, including workout type and intensity. The reason this category is uniquely sensitive, health data combined with location data produces the most revealing possible profile. It can identify where a person sought medical care, what condition they may be treating, and what their physical patterns suggest about their health state. The permission prompt for this category looks identical to the camera permission prompt. The word allow is in the same position. Advertising ID. This section is the turn in the video. Everything before has covered what the permission system takes. This covers what happened when users were given a genuine choice. Before iOS 14.5 in April 2021, every app could access the IDFA, the identifier for advertisers, without asking. No permission prompt existed. Apps used this identifier to track users across apps and websites and build profiles that persisted across sessions. Apple's App Tracking Transparency framework required apps to explicitly ask for permission to use it. After the change, global opt-in rates for immediate tracking prompts dropped to 13.85% when given a clear, honest choice. In plain language, at the moment of download, fewer than 1 in 7 users agreed to be tracked. The ATT change also reduced the share of trackable Apple traffic in the US by more than 50 percentage points. Facebook reported losing approximately $10 billion in annual revenue attributable to ATT in their 2022 earnings disclosures. $10 billion. From a single change to a single permission prompt on a single operating system. That number tells you how much the previous default, no prompt automatic access, had been worth to the companies receiving it, the system itself. The permission prompt tells you what an app is accessing. It does not tell you what that access enables, who receives the data, how long it is retained, or who it is sold to. Contacts tells you the data type. It does not tell you that the data is uploaded to a server, retained indefinitely, used to build profiles of people who never agreed to anything, or sold to third parties. 97% of apps are missing required privacy manifests for their third-party software components, meaning the disclosure requirement designed to show users which third-party code inside an app touches their data is not being followed by nearly all apps. Roughly 50% of free iOS apps collect private user data, compared to 13.5% of paid apps. The business model is the variable. When the app is free, data collection is how it gets paid. The one thing you can do right now. On iOS, settings arrow privacy and security. Every permission category is listed with every app that holds it. On Android, settings arrow privacy arrow permission manager. Same structure. Both have existed since iOS 14 and Android 11. Most people have never opened either of them. The permission system was not designed to protect you from data collection. It was designed to document your consent to it. Those are different things. Now you know what you consented to. Apple built the privacy controls that let you revoke these permissions. They've also removed features from their own products without asking. Every Apple feature removed and never brought back is on screen right now.